Well, hello. Today is the 1993 movie True Romance, written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by Tony Scott. Clarence meets a young woman named Alabama at the movies. They hit it off, and after a night together, he finds out she was a prostitute hired by a friend for his birthday. Still, he falls in love with her, and that next day, they decide to get married. Clarence, though, has to go visit Alabama's pimp to get her stuff back at the urging of a hallucination of Elvis Presley. After a fight, he manages to kill the pimp and his henchmen and inadvertently brings back $500,000 in cocaine. The mob find out about Clarence and where he's going from a visit with his father. Clarence and Alabama go to LA and hook up with an aspiring actor friend. This actor friend introduces him to another actor, which gets him a meeting to sell the cocaine for a high producer. Only the mob does track them down, and Alabama has to kill one of the enforcers that try to beat the information out of her. Finally, at the meeting, the cops show up and the mob enforcers at the same time. A three-way battle ensues with basically everybody getting killed except Clarence and Alabama. They manage to take the money and wounded Clarence and head for Mexico. There, they live happily ever after with a son named Elvis. So, this 1993 screenplay was written by Quentin Tarantino. He originally did want to direct it, but after Reservoir Dogs, he somehow lost interest and wanted to pursue something else. So he just sold it off, and it got made, and it was directed by Tony Scott. For the most part, he pretty much stuck to the script, except two things. He didn't film it non-linear, which is how Tarantino wrote it and how he liked to do things. And he changed the ending, which was actually quite a tragic ending. Both the main characters, Clarence and Alabama, died. But instead, he had them, go to Mexico, and have a happy ending. Tarantino thought this was a great movie. I mean, he had no problem with the changes. The director made the movie that he wanted to make, and it wasn't what he would have done, but he was quite satisfied with the end result. And this movie was a pretty enjoyable movie. It didn't do well at the box office. It had a budget of $12.5 million and only made $12.6, so it was a big money loser. Although it did become a cult film and probably made some money later on with video rentals and that. And the title of it is a play on the romantic comics of the old, romantic love, young love, and stuff like that. And I think it's a really enjoyable movie. I remember when I saw it, I thought, yeah, this is a pretty fun movie. It feels like a Tarantino movie. I mean, the setups, the dialogue, the pop culture references, the violence, set in Southern California for half of it. And it had a lot of great actors. It had Christopher Walken, Dennis Hopper. Their scene together where he's talking about Sicilians was, really a great one. Apparently, Tarantino actually was told that by a black friend, and then he was telling it to a Sicilian friend, and he thought, boy, this would make a great dialogue for a movie, and so that's why I wrote it in the script, and he was pretty happy that got into the movie. And I just think, this was a pretty well done movie. if you like Quentin Tarantino, I think you'll love this movie. And I think also I like the happy ending to it. I mean, that's something I do like. I do like happy endings. I mean, the way Quentin Tarantino wrote it, it probably would have been good, effective, like Romeo and Juliet. That's a very effective story, and people have copied that. And so did Tarantino in some ways. So, if you stuck with me this long, I thank you. You're a unique individual.